Beautiful scenes as we get set for action. Toulouse, well, maybe not everything to lose, but the Ligue 2 champions of last year now facing their stiffest test in their return to the top flight. It is game week 5. Well, maybe not quite time for tinfoil hats, but everything seems to be radioactive around PSG, and they have been flying high. However, the squad in purple, nothing to sneeze at. This Toulouse squad in 6th place, 5 points through 4 matches. Lost their last Liga match against Nantes, which had snapped a 3-match unbeaten run. Speaking of unbeaten, that is PSG. However, had to fight hard last time to keep that alive. This Toulouse squad welcoming the defending champions in what should be quite the showdown. The last 2 matches at home for the hosts have ended in draws. That sounds good, but at least to the top flight, they have not won since 2019. That one against Olympique Lyon. Take a look at the way the squad will come out. Dupé in goal, 3-man back line, which will be mirrored by PSG. Van den Boomen and Spearings anchoring that midfield 4, and the Liga joined by Getao on that front line. Philippe Montagnier, man who has quite a bit of experience at the top flight, both in France and in Spain. Wearing the armband here today. Before the referee of this encounter. Ascolotti and Ojak running the lines. Solota is the 4th official, and there you take a look. Johan Hamel, the man in charge of the VAR booth. Both of these teams missing a little bit. Pablo Sarabia not available on the bench. The 2 bosses out at midfield. He's injured. Presnel Kimpembe, who's been ever present, also sitting this one out, which means a couple of changes. One injury forced. And there you look at Mukiele, who will slot in for Ashraf Hakimi. Coach's decision, getting a day off. Danilo slotting to the back line. And up front, it is that M&M. And to this point, they have not melted in hand or mouth. They have been red hot. Donnarumma, meanwhile, just a few moments of concern, but has been able to come up with some pretty big stops as well. Kylian Mbappe missing the first couple of games of this season due to suspension and injury, but slotting in whenever available for the new man in charge, Christophe Galtier. Galtier going against his grain with this new look PSG formation, and it has looked quite good. Tested though in their last encounter. See if they're able to get back on a good track here today following their 1-1 draw against Monaco. There the whistle, the ball rolling on the turf at the Stadium de Toulouse, and we are underway. Phil Shane alongside Thomas Rongen bringing you all of the action on a busy midweek encounter. 5 matches already in the books. 5 matches now underway to close out this game week 5. And Thomas, a few surprises to say the least in the early matches. Stade de Reims going into Angers, coming away with a 4-2 win. Montpellier shutting down Ajaccio. And maybe the biggest shock again with a Lyon win over Auxerre. Strasbourg held late by Nantes. Was another stumble by Monaco. It was Tiny Trois who doubled them up again at the Louis II. Ball cleared away. Could have been a panicked clearance. Instead, calm under pressure as white-clad Toulouse trying to get out of danger. Vitinha back in the starting lineup here today, Thomas, and that is a big return.
Absolutely huge, Phil.
Chance at the top for Mbappe. The return, trying to settle. Neymar kisses it in. Mbappe tries to poke it. Messi with the right foot stolen away, and it's a bunch of pinballing around the 6-yard box that PSG cannot bury.
And going back to Vitinha, he starts the attack as well, Phil, which we didn't see in their last game. So the aura of invincibility shattered a little bit in that draw, obviously.
Neymar, Messi, Mbappe trying to barrel his way through. Ball pops up and looks like they will bring this back. Advantage did not appear. Free kick PSG just outside the area.
Yeah, and Galtier is looking at the response, and we're looking at the response as well, Phil, in this match, obviously, after a poor outing, in particular for Mbappe. It had 2 or 3 good opportunities. That central play is still there between that triangle. Messi fouled, and that's a good distance for either Neymar or Messi. Right footer, left footer, both comfortable from this distance, Phil. Good start by PSG. And also what I like about Galtier, staying, even with Kimpembe, staying in that same system, just slotting Danilo, as you said, in for Kimpembe, Marquinhos and Ramos, still the wide guys up and down.
4 in the wall. Rafa Ratao, the Brazilian, putting his body at risk.
Yes, he is. I don't know if I would turn my back. I would like to see the ball, actually.
That explains your nose, though.
True.
Neymar steps, Messi strikes into the window. It looked like it actually hit Verratti. Appeals, in fact, for a handball by Toulouse, but play continues. Doesn't look like it went the way it was supposed to. I think those 2 PSG players were supposed to split.
Yeah, you want to extend the wall, Phil, of when there's 4 or 5 to make sure the goalkeeper really has no good look at the ball and sees the ball late. But the key is to get out of the way. Most of the time you duck. And that just didn't happen.
All the way back to Donnarumma, who has been better than expected with his feet this year after getting the vote of confidence from Galtier. Talk about that performance in the wall. Again, as of the last couple of seasons, if there's more than 3 players in the defensive wall, the attackers cannot be part of it. They need to stand at least a yard away, which changes things. But then, I don't know if you saw, speaking of French goalkeepers, Mike Maignan for Milan a couple of rounds ago. Ball touched into the middle. Marquinhos takes the steam out of it. Where Maignan actually ran about 40 yards out of his area to the sideline. A trip on Vitinha not called. To line up the attacking players in the wall to block the opposing goalkeeper, and it worked. It led to a goal.
It did. There's so many variations now, the way you defend and also the way you attack, Phil, on set pieces.
Raphael threading it forward, looking for the chance in front, but it's blocked away by Donnarumma. Close for Dalinga, but not close enough.
Yeah, Dalinga's leaning that line out. A very interesting 4-3-2-1 that Philippe Montagnier is using for Toulouse. And by the way, Toulouse, in all games they've played this year, Phil, were leading. They only won 1.
Meanwhile, PSG only trailing once. That was the last match. Rafa Ratao sending that one into the stands. They did fight back for the late draw. A bit fortunate to get it in the big picture, but a total dominant performance in the second half.
Yep.
By the way, in that, it was frustration for Monaco to see the 3 points disappear. And Maripan, the player who was whistled for a penalty, well, got a little bit of revenge today with a goal against Troyes, but then got red carded, only to see the upstarts come away with the win. 6th minute, trying to calm things down here. Mukiele taken down.
That was a rash tackle. I'm really surprised the yellow card didn't come out, Phil. One of the key components to Philippe Montagnier's team is that they do press, and they press aggressively as well. And they've taken the games to their opponents. But seeing out games has been a problem for them, and that's a rash challenge right there.
Dalinga getting a talking to. Some of the PSG fans quite vocal. They thought it should be more, but that is a selling point, if you will, for French refereeing. They do tend to want to let them play. Yeah, they draw a very strong line, though, and once you cross it.
Yeah. And I think I love that kind of instruction from a league towards the referees as well. When we can let the game be played, guys, and that happens in Ligue 1, and that's what makes this league so great in terms of goals scored, and the flow to the game doesn't get killed, so to speak.
7th minute, Messi dribbles, dishes, Mbappe sending it wide, but Neymar had the engine in neutral. Talk about the changes here for Gaultier. He makes 2 of them, and I'm a little bit surprised by one. Danilo, who is a very heavy right-footed player, slotting in at that left center back position, a position that Sergio Ramos played for nearly a decade at Real Madrid. The only thing I can think of is with Mukiele out there for Hakimi as well, you don't want to put the 2 new players on the same side.
Yeah, that's probably his thinking as well.
There's Ramos. And there's Danilo.
And also in the pecking order, Phil, it seems like Danilo is ahead of him. Danilo comes in as a midfielder the last game, now starts as a center back. Mukiele is the natural guy to replace any of those 3 because he's a natural center back as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how a totally different player than Hakimi is going to operate on that right side.
Ball played back to Donnarumma. Of course, Mukiele made his debut off the bench at that right wing back position, but that might be one of the selling points for the former Leipzig man, that he can cover pretty much at least 4 of the back 5. 9th minute, pushing forward, Dalinga settles, looking to turn, shot, kick save by Donnarumma. Rafael had actually pushed forward, otherwise the rebound would have been right at him. Here comes Verratti to the front line. Mbappe could have slotted Messi through, but instead finds Neymar. Back to the middle into a double team. Messi getting the ball off the bounce, trying to tuck it wide, but it's parried away. Oh, what a save on the doorstep.
Dupé is brilliant. You're absolutely right, because Messi guides this one with the inside of the foot. Brilliant. Through traffic as well, Phil. So he sees it really late. Brilliant reaction.
Ball played back to Mendes. In for Mbappe, cuts, maintains, tries the outside of the boot, and again Dupé to the rescue. Oh, PSG on high octane.
And important for Mbappe after a bit of an off game, Phil, where he had some opportunities very similar to this here, but that was another great save by Dupé. Were the options centrally with the square ball better for Mbappe, because there were options, Phil, in that 18-yard box.
Sweeping it in, Neymar over everyone. You can see Danilo clapping his hands in frustration. He had a choice to make: stay back post or cut in, and I think he thinks he saw the wrong choice. Nice turn by Dalinga here, and a good save by Donnarumma.
Brilliant save by Donnarumma. Twice now he's been asked to come into action, and again the Achilles heel is still between Marquinhos and the 2 other center backs, depending on their movement. And so important again for Mendes and Mukiele to stay with wide players. If they don't, then sometimes Ramos and Danilo end up in no man's land, and then there are little gaps that you can exploit with diagonal runs.
Here's a chance on the turnover. Mendes to the middle, Neymar in the center lane, tries to dribble through a double team, but it's stolen away. Now the other way, Ratao looking long and over everyone.
Just a brilliant footwork of all front 3, by the way they can just manipulate within tight areas their bodies and the ball equally well with such guile and brilliance. But the double teaming coming really, really quick each and every time by Toulouse. Double team plus some contact. Just throw these three brilliant assets for PSG up front, just off their game somewhat, which happened last week.
Talked about the early matches, big road wins for Troyes and Reims, home wins for Montpellier and Lyon. Strasbourg thought they had three in their pocket till the Canaries barked late. 1-1 there. The nightcaps, if you will. Lille against Nice, and what a showdown that one is. Marseille, Clermont, Lens, Lorient, Reims against Stade Brest, and of course here Toulouse, PSG.
Yeah. And Lyon are tied for first with 10 points.
Four-way tie now with Lyon. Of course, they had their match to make up against Lorient. Lorient playing now at Lens, and I guess with a game in hand could conceivably be a five-way tie. Nice through ball from Raphael. Looking for the opening, but the shot sent straight to Donnarumma. Another wasted opportunity by Abouklal.
They're so good, that front three that manipulates. Dalinga leads through the line, but then it allows Van Bomen, Zanden on the other side. To get in real good advanced positions, and they utilize the half spaces as good as others. Neymar changing his boots, or seemed to have a problem with that one.
A little bit of a surprise that he does not wait until there was a stoppage. Although I'm sure his equipment supplier probably doesn't mind. PSG playing short-handed, at least for the moment. Messi in the pocket. Neymar sprinting back on. But the ball slotted in. Nicolaisen able to take it away. Slamming through and maybe getting a little bit of frustration out is Abouklal, and smile on his face.
Yeah, Abouklal is where's the number 6 feel, and tackles like a number 6, but also gets himself
the number 6
in very good positions with Ratao, the other one playing underneath Dalinga, and that's key for PSG, making sure that they can have numerical advantages. So a 3v2, a 4 versus 3. And in transition, sometimes you find 1v1 opportunities for the opposing team to break. Good start by the home side.
Threaded through. Neymar coming on the end. Nice stop by Mbappe, but the pass leaves a lot to be desired. Talked about this in years past, saw it last year in full display as Clermont over the opening couple of rounds was actually in the lead in Liga. But teams like Toulouse, remember, they were champions in their mind. They still were as of a few weeks back. They don't know they're supposed to lose yet. So if you're going to take on PSG, do it early. Here's Mbappe, a little change of pace. Beautiful defending by Nicolaisen as he stays with the big man.
Yeah, the left side, Nicolaisen and Diarra, the left back, are very good feel and tackling and being able to disrupt any kind of flow going forward. Is so good in 1v1 defending, and this is against some of the best in the world.
This will swing in. Dupé about a yard off his line. Some of the Toulouse fans getting a little over-eager. Punched away, Dupé. Verratti with a touch, but he doesn't get it all. Dalinga decked. Referee had a clear look, says no foul. Stepping in, Mendes on his right foot, lifting it in for Neymar, and he brings it down off the shoulder and on the wrong side of the crown. The shot sails wide anyway. Didn't miss by much, and you know, VAR might have had something to say. That looks like it might have come off the chest. But a moot point, quarter hour in.
And key to success is their captain in midfield, Phil van der Bomen. and spearings. If they can keep Messi at bay, and that's their main responsibility, obviously, that means also they can kill the supply lines to Mbappe and Neymar. So big for that tandem in midfield.
Van den Boomen leading the team with assists. Outlet pass here is Dessler pushing in, sending it across, and on a bounce, unable to control it, Abouklal, as he sends the shot wide.
Just brilliant, deep running fill by the right fullback Dessler. Offsides though, but still, we've seen on the first 20 minutes or so a Toulouse team that is pretty capable on the counter and can carve out some good opportunities.
Tell me a little bit about the playmaker for Toulouse. I mean, last year much was made about Mbappe and Messi being on the same team, being the two top assist men in Liga. Well, down a division, Branko van den Boomen, 21 assists.
Yeah, pretty amazing. The 27-year-old Dutchman, yeah, for my country. Illustrious career. Actually started at Ajax, Phil, like a lot of talented players do, but this guy cannot make it. So he's been at Eindhoven, Heerenveen, Willem II, and the Graafschap.
You talk about Eindhoven like it's a step down.
Yeah. And since 2020 at Toulouse, it's been huge.
Messi draws two, Neymar through, Mbappe, and again, in my mind, one of the most underrated defenders, Nicolaisen, stealing it away, but won back by PSG. Messi's shot, he's claiming a deflection as it just whistles past the post. Let's take a look. And he knew that one right as it comes off Diarra.
Yeah, it does come off Diarra. It's almost like the old Messi with the assist of Alba, you know. That's his zone right there. When he comes late, feel like he just hit it first time of a cutback of a player. It used to be Alba in the past. A lot of times now it's Mendes or Mbappe or Neymar, for that matter. But good defending.
Let's talk a little bit about Toulouse as we see Galtier. Much was made of him kind of being an old school French manager. Nuts and bolts, make sure that I's and T's are taken care of, something that some of the past PSG managers might have overlooked. Here's Mbappe. Neymar looked like he lost it, just part of the show. Here's Vitinha creating, tries to thread it through two. Diarra comes away with it. Montagnier, a veteran, as we mentioned, going back to his days at Caen. Saw him at Lens and even a brief stint at Nottingham Forest, Real Sociedad, where I first crossed paths. But the man who's pulling the strings at Toulouse is Damien Comolli. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's worked with teams like Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool. Ball whipped into the middle, grabbed by Donnarumma. I guess the closest equivalent you can kind of call it is the soccer version of Moneyball, where they go deep into the statistics and try and find the hidden gems. And at least in Ligue 2, it worked.
It certainly did, Phil. It's one of the brilliant components of this team. And there's a few teams in the world that have used Moneyball to their best, based on their playing style, their philosophy, and then looking at specific skills of particular players in particular positions as well. And they've done a great job.
Go into a little bit more detail in a moment. Ramos sweeps it across. Van den Boomen was one of those players that they plucked away. Ball lifted into Dessler. Mendes tries to fight it through. Ratau coming away with it. Strips the ball off of Danilo. It falls right to Dalinga. Can they switch? They do, but the pass just behind Abouklal, and he's forced to track it down. Back into the middle, sliding over Donnarumma.
Yeah, and it starts with the guy we've mentioned very often, Phil. Talk about Moneyball. You know, 2.7 million, Thijs Dalinga, who leads the line. They know exactly what they want under number 9. That's a little bit of an island. He's strong, he's powerful, he can hold the ball as well, but he also can get behind people. Very good in late runs in the box.
Ball back to Donnarumma. Used to seeing this with Keylor Navas, not so much with the young Italian, who was a bit shaky with the ball at his feet last year. He has been nearly foot perfect this year. Sprinting forward, Verratti trying to thread it through for Messi, but Messi wanted it to feet. Just touched wide. Rafael coming away with it. Verratti plucks it back for PSG. Verratti seemed like one of the players most affected in the last match in the absence of Vitinha. And now Vitinha's back out there, his tail held high.
Yeah, it's just sometimes you get a natural partnership. Chemistry just clicks right away. These two players just are so good on both sides of the ball. They fill in for each other defensively. They understand one goes, the other one sits. At times when the wide players are a little deeper, they can both be in advanced position, and both are always looking to play that front three as early and as often. As we've seen a few times, a few balls get cut out, but Vitinha's always looking for, in particular, Messi. And that allows Messi to play higher at the pitch, which the last game he dropped deeper and deeper and deeper, missing that one particular link in Vitinha more so than anything else.
On the way, Toulouse also, I guess you could say, maybe not the headlines, but the sidebar of the soccer papers today, as their owners, Redbird, just decided to add another club to the family. Can't remember who it is. Some small club in Italy. Champions, Milan.
Pretty amazing. Yeah, the investment of American money right now. It used to be Russian oligarchs, the Middle East. It's predominantly U.S., be it Crystal Palace, be it, the list goes on and on and on.
Vitinha sending it wide.
And that has like guys like LeBron and Drake even involved, you know? They know.
Oh, to Mendes. Wants it back, gets it back, but Messi's pass too far.
Messi knows that he should have just turned and go the other way. Good defending by Dessler by keeping Mendes goal side, Phil. It's so important, in particular quickness. And it's very interesting too, because now I think PSG will be more left-sided dominant, which really helps Diarra and Van Bomen on the other side, because we haven't mentioned Mukiele's name at all in advanced positions or with the ball for that matter. That's why I'm a little surprised that he starts there, because he's really more of a true center back and not comfortable in very tight spaces. Has some decent juice, but not like Hakimi.
Slotting in Mbappe. Nice little dance to his left foot, but well read. Ramos trying to come away with it. Touched away, but who did it touch last? Out off Toulouse.
Yeah, Toulouse just making that back three really uncomfortable. And also their defense making Mbappe right here very uncomfortable. Always good numbers around the ball, which is so important. Back four, and these two holding midfielders.
Cut to the middle. Again, it's Messi. But Dupé again down to his right to deny.
Incredible. That central combination play. And again, the ability for Messi to just survey the field and know what's the right ball or the right shot to take. And another incredible athletic save by Dupé. Incredible.
Well, Messi, who was a little off based on his standards this year against Monaco, red hot here. Launched inside, cleared away the Ligue, who quickly out to press. Verratti, Marquinhos, Mbappe, and down goes Nicolaisen. He takes the hit, but he stopped the ticking. Nicolaisen, one of those money ball players brought in by Camoli. The 25-year-old Dane coming through Midtjylland with a brief stop at Portsmouth, but he has been outstanding.
Yeah, that's another brilliant, absolutely brilliant, well-timed tackle, Phil, knowing that he has to go down. There's Messi again, and there's Toupé with that reaction save. Very similar to a few minutes ago.
Talked about Van den Boomen, who was pretty much a run-of-the-mill mid-table player in Holland, but put him in here and you'd see what happened. Another one that was a bit of a steal was Reece Healy, who was stuck in the lower divisions in England, but then turning into a scoring star, better than a goal every other game, but now with a ruptured ligament, they're going to need to replace him. They do have a few hours to go, the deadline tomorrow. Not sure Toulouse has the money, and that will be a big loss. Only player injured on this Toulouse squad.
PSG scored in the last 18 games, Phil. I think the guy that really today needs to have a huge game is Kylian Mbappe, who is really off. Several good opportunities against Monaco. Good goalkeeping, but poor finishing, I think, for the French international.
Toupé swinging it off near side. Ligue challenges, bounces for Raphael, but it's just across the chalk, so PSG will get it back. Mendes a bit worse for wear. We saw Donnarumma victimized once already. Abouklal almost getting there in time.
Yeah, we got another one that brought in on that money ball kind of data analysis they use as well. He's so quick, and also quick with the ball, but also quick closing down situations. What he's done with Donnarumma caught him a little bit by surprise. So far, so good for this Toulouse side that really is showing no fear.
Abouklal, one of those players that was brought in the offseason to shore things up. Remember, both teams promoted last year did stick around. Van den Boomen from the corner, knotted down, but smashed wide of the post.
Brilliant running, great ball in, Phil, and both Danilo and Marquinhos get their wires crossed, so to speak.
Ligue just couldn't caress it in.
And he comes from deep, hard to mark, and he's in motion too while he hits the ball, Phil. The combination of the good cross with the great timed run as well is very hard to mark at times.
Ligue also brought in the offseason. Down goes Mukiele again.
Yeah, Mukiele is normally the guy that dishes those ones out, Phil. It's probably the first that he's going, wait a minute. What am I doing with my back towards the opposing goal? I'm not used to that. And somebody's kicking me.
Talked about all of the assists from Van den Boomen. Ligue, 32 goals in the second flight in Holland. A bit surprised that someone like Toulouse was able to get him. You'd figure one of the bigger clubs, at least in the Netherlands, would have taken a flyer. Down to line, Mukiele back, Sanden trying to slow him down. Nice by Diatta to step in on the double team.
Not easy for Mukiele to start really his first game, feel out wide, almost like a winger, which is different, obviously, than what he's accustomed to.
TFC trying to step forward, but stripped away by Verratti, cut out again by Nicolaisen.
Yeah, Messi looking at the referee going, Hey, there was some contact here.
Rafael, ex-Ponte Preta, picked up from Bratislava a few years ago. Ball forward for Mbappe, who brings it down into the middle for Neymar. Diarra dropping back. No one can get a handle. It's all the way back to Mendes. By the way, in regards to this Toulouse system, ball scooped forward for Mbappe. Flag stays down, lifting it far side. Mukiele getting a touch, but it will carry. It's not all just numbers. Montagnier says they also check, the way he describes it, the human of the players.
And that becomes probably the most important component, because, you know what, technically we can assess players. Physically we can assess players. Tactically, you know, depending on your system, that's where you want to look at some analysis. But the most important part is the human part as well. How committed is this player?
How are they going to gel?
Not only that, how do they deal with adversity, etc., etc. Because the mental part, I think in all sports, still can make the difference. All the other areas, there's some players that are very equal, you know, in their skill set, technically, tactically, and physically. So mentally, you can still make a difference. Good teammate, works hard each and every day, respects himself, his teammates, but also the game and his opponents. And then you create a profile and a DNA. And that's so important. And they've done a tremendous job, because this team works extremely hard and plays as a team.
Neymar coming back, finding Vitinha, looking down the center channel. Off to Mbappe, tries to cut through. Nicolaisen throws his body to the ground. And the referee sees enough contact to call the foul.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because Mbappe needs to go around and over, and Nicolaisen is now going down. And you know what?
In the old days, that might have been obstruction.
Yes, very good, Phil. So now Mbappe is struggling off balance, because he's going to jump over a body that's pretty much laying in front of him. And then there's a little bit of contact, but I think that the real aggressor is the defender.
Well, got away with it. Approaching the 35th minute. Coupe launching it long.
And Toulouse could be one of the surprises this year, Phil. Yes, you always talk about top flight survival, but 1-2-1, 7 goals, 6 against, very well balanced. And today showing through almost 35 minutes that they really belong and could stay around that 11th spot I think they're in right now.
Well, if they do get the victory somehow, they'd only be 2 points off the pace.
That's
Neymar.
A possibility, but more a dream, I think.
Again, the real story, and we talked about it in the early rounds. They are cutting back to 18 teams next year. And what that means, the bottom 4 go down automatically. There's not even that promotional playoff safety. The bottom 4 teams will be relegated automatically. So I don't think PSG needs to worry about it. Well, Mukiele, no Hakimi, almost gets there.
Yeah, and that's the timing of the run. He can go a little earlier, Phil, because he will be on sides. He just doesn't read this correctly. That's a good ball by Vitinha. And by the way, Vitinha again involved in that final third. In particular, always looking for Messi and somehow always finding him as well. That's why Messi's been so productive early on, and clearly he's the one that stands to benefit the most, I think, of the great passer Vitinha, and then all of a sudden the great passer Verratti becomes better as well. Huge.
By the way, taking a look at those bottom 4 spots right now, admittedly a lot of football still to be played. I don't think anyone would be surprised with Ajaccio and maybe even Angers, but Nice and Strasbourg also still winless.
Yep.
I know a lot of Niçois were looking at the departure of Galtier with a Gallic shrug, thinking how they closed out last season, slipping out of the Champions League. I think they're finding life without Galtier might leave a bit to be desired. Well, PSG at the top of the table, unbeaten. Messi Mbappe draws, drags Neymar into the middle. Good team defense again, pinching in Dessler with the touch. It's a bend but don't break from Toulouse.
Yes. I mean, outside of the two chances from Messi, not really chances, he created his own opportunities out of nothing, quite frankly. And Dupé makes two great saves, and obviously the one of Mbappe. They've been very sturdy, Phil, not giving away a lot.
Vitinha, Messi, Mbappe! Looked like he might pass it, but he flicks it with the greatest of ease towards goal. Dupé was ready with a left-hand save.
Beautiful saves.
Any other given week, he could have a hat-trick already.
Non-verbal.
In for Neymar. Was he on? He tucks it under Dupé, but the flag will take it away.
And that's inches, Phil. And still for them to be able to manipulate and get through traffic. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 white jerseys in this arc of concentration. Ooh, and that's tight, Phil. That's tight. And
what's VAR gonna say?
Messi, Neymar. Beautiful sequence between those three.
Well, while they check, two more moves for PSG before the window closes. And one dominoing into the other, waiting for the arrival of Fabian Ruiz from Napoli, 5-year deal. And with that signed, sealed, and delivered, sending Leandro Paredes to Juventus on loan. And he's onside. This goal's going to count.
Correct.
Look at the shoulder, and then look where the shoulder is, almost on the line from the Swedish defender.
Yep.
So PSG had the goal taken away, and I think the video is going to give it back.
It's just incredible. I mean, the ball first into Mbappe. Mbappe's first touch. So you go up, back, and through. I know it sounds very simple, but that's what happened over here. Very similar to almost their first goal on, you know, the free kick, on the set piece, when they started to go up, back, and through. Now they do it in a tight, condensed space. The timing of the run, the precision of the pass has to be absolutely perfect through that arc of concentration of white numbers. I'm surprised it's taken so long, Phil, because to me it's obvious. This goal should stand, and the triangle alive and well.
And by the way, that would be goal number 7 on the young campaign for Neymar.
Yep. Behind
only a red-hot Erling Haaland among the big 5 in Europe. Well, is he going to go over and take a look? It shouldn't even be that close.
And it's one-touch football of all three. Mbappe one touch, Messi one touch, and then the simple, beautiful finish by Neymar.
And the VAR says goal. Neymar, number 7, and PSG finally cracks the ice.
And what a goal it was again, Phil. You try to go centrally into the strength of the opponent's numbers, 7, 8 white jerseys, and are able to find space inside the 18-yard box with a delicate chip and a brilliant run. Here's Verratti, boom. Here's 4 times, one touch, and then Neymar takes that touch just to get a better angle, freezes the goalkeeper, goes far post. What good execution of 4 players that are absolutely brilliant. Starting again with Verratti, who looks so much better now with Vitinha.
Kept alive nicely. Van den Bomen, poor pass across though. So Nicolaisen stepping up, and here trying to keep up with Mbappe again. It was Rual who lost sight for a split second of Neymar, and that's all it took. Cleared back to midfield. Ramos will get it.
And to be very simple and patient. Against Monaco, they forced a lot of things, Phil. They understand they have to move the ball from deep positions, sometimes to manipulate that block of 6. And Neymar again in a small pocket. Mbappe still high to stretch you. Their balance so good.
Verratti for Messi, and just nodded away. Well, we talk about this Toulouse as though they're a revelation, and in some ways they are. And there you can see clearly by a good yard onside. Remember, Only had, what, 13 goals last season, and 10 of them coming late. Now he's got 7 out of the gate.
And arguably their best player, and arguably the best form we've seen him in the PSG jersey.
4 minutes of regulation remain. Cleared away, a slam with Nicolaisen knocked down, fouled against PSG. Toulouse almost made it into Liga a year earlier. They were in that promotion playoff spot and fell to Nantes, who were rescued. Of course, then again, Nantes did not waste that opportunity, going out and winning the Coupe de France. So Toulouse just had to wait an extra year, and they come in much stronger. Danilo. Van den Bomen. Miata. Sanden. Nice. They play a pretty football.
They do.
Cut to the inside. Abouhlal taken off his boot by Ramos.
They've shown a lot of courage through, you know, almost 5 games now, almost at halftime. This Toulouse side, really high on them, Phil.
Mbappe with a little shake and bake into the area, triple teamed, takes a tumble, but no foul on anyone.
No, he initiates that one. He realizes now at this touch here, he can't get past that last defender, who does so well by putting his body in between ball and player, and then forces Neymar to make contact through there. Hard tackling by Ramos and Verratti in midfield. And for an early flurry of Toulouse, again, PSG's done a great job in pressing early, Phil.
Tangled near the midfield stripe. Van den Bomen barking at the ref while Verratti down on the ground.
An interesting part, going back to Toulouse, they're after Paris, or with Paris, most possessions won in the final third. It was 26 prior to this game. And by the way, Neymar a leading 6 as well. So both teams, when they can, love to press early and win balls back far away from their goal. Today, a harder task for Toulouse, obviously, with a more dominant PSG, but that speaks volumes about PSG's intent this year from day one under Galtier, extremely fit. If I was a coach of a big-time team with big-time players, I would say, I would like the World Cup to be in November, December every year, because my boy's coming in extremely motivated and fit.
And you get a nice month's vacation in the middle of the season.
No doubt.
A minute, man, only a minute left. First half has flown by.
And the reason being is it's been a high-level game, Phil. Yeah, more dominant now, PSG, but early on, up and down.
Messi, flicked on by Neymar, sprinting through the defense from right to left, but then the door slammed shut. Back to Vitinha. Again, something that was missing. Messi did not have an outlet. Good read by Rafael on the sloppy pass from Neymar. Again, Verratti takes it out of the fire. Back to Messi. Teed up, strikes it straight at Dupé, who can thank his lucky stars. Messi was too direct.
Great again, the ability of PSG to win that ball back, Phil, immediately find their better players in those tight areas as well. You made a great point. Vitinha, not just a player that finds Messi, but vice versa. The respect of big-time players.
Nice tuck by Mbappe to his right. Nicolaisen might have been a knee-to-knee. He comes away limping, but poked it free. Gessler now up the line. Dalinga wanted it long.
It took me 6 games to get a ball from Cruyff. I finally said, I trust you a little bit. Vitinha, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, they've trusted this young Portuguese from day one because they know he's a big-time player.
Class recognizes class.
Yes, sir.
Danilo. Again, even from this left side as a right-footed center back, looks so much more comfortable. Again, Nicolaisen.
this is the best I've seen PSG attack centrally. They've rarely used Mukiele on the right side or Mendes, and the ability of that front three with Vitinha and Verratti. Now we're talking about the front five almost, to manipulate through simple ball and player movement is just scintillating. Feel joy to watch.
Now, what do you do if you're Toulouse? Can you clog the middle anymore?
Well, and then they go out wide.
Messi from the flank.
And one thing Mukiele and Mendes do, they actually are occupying two guys, Dessler and Diarra, so there's still some openings centrally.
Verratti for Vitinha.
As soon as this fullback start cheating, Phil, and say, you know what, they're not playing those guys, we're going even more inside, then the smart guys like a Messi and a Neymar and a Vitinha will all of a sudden find those wide players till they can move that back six again, and then boom, they go centrally.
Toulouse perspective, maybe winning a championship this year would be asking a little more than they can do, but this is the youngest team in the top flight. And talked about Ligue and his success in the second division in Holland. They got him for 2.5 million. 36 goals, 2.5 million. Ball lifted in, looking for Mbappe, but just missing the train at the station.
And what I like also about Montagnier is that he has not altered his system. We've seen most teams come out of a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2. You know, it's really a 5 at the end. They're staying with a 4, which I really like. But you miss one guy in that back 4 now, all of a sudden there are some spaces that PSG has utilized centrally very well, Phil.
Sending it along halfway through the added time. Ramos got a touch, but it's right back in, so Ramos gets in perfect position to win it back. Mukiele.
Yeah, huge that he's there, huge that he stays.
Tackle in the midfield. Messi stripped. Ligue back. Van den Boomen wide. Abouhlal. Ligue. Abouhlal. Looking to cut it back, trying to settle for a corner, but it bounces back on the nice tackle from Ramos.
Yeah, and that's something that didn't have last year, Phil. His positioning, his understanding where to put out fires, huge for them. And yes, they've conceded some goals, but they've improved dramatically in terms of organization, in terms of communication, and in terms of buying in what Ramos stands for. You know, hard fight guys throughout 90 minutes, and even the bigger stars have picked up on that.
Just one win in their last 20 top-flight meetings with PSG for Toulouse. They are trailing, but they're playing well, at least as well as can be expected. Here comes Vitinha. PSG trying to find a second before the break. They're probably not going to get it. And for all that, I think if you would have told Montagnier it's 1-0 at the half, he would say, thank you very much. We'll take our chances in the second.
Probably, correct. That's all you want. Keep me close in this game against PSG. That's what every team wants to do. And maybe get something late or in a set piece.
And that is going to do it for the opening half. We'll talk a little bit more about how this might be a bit of a pitfall match for PSG, but they've handled the first speed bump with a 1-0 lead at Toulouse at the break.
That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Technically, the game lasts 60 minutes. But the memories...
The world of money together. Invest in your best investment. Friendlies.
There's a $10 million fantasy football tournament live on Underdog Fantasy. And you can draft your team right now.
Violence has arrived, one that will redefine MLW history. Fusion Alpha has begun.
Renegades, let's lucha!
A ruthless new matchmaker, incredible matches, fearless wrestlers. Every title is on the line. MLW Fusion Alpha. Only on beIN Sports. No matter
where it's played.
Did get a lot of
going down to go. I need.
I pay over $100 a month for cable.
thrill. Feel the rush of performance at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event.
This just in. A giant robot has landed downtown.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, guys. This is just my workout stuff.
We know you're the Green Hawk.
Everyone knows.
What? That's bananas.
You're still wearing your mask, dude.
If you have a secret identity, you need to keep it secret. And if you want to save by bundling home and car insurance, you need Geico.
I'm not the Green Hawk.
Delivery for the Green Hawk?
See how much you could save by bundling with Geico.
I will bring it to him.
So, you got an idea for a business, the store of your dreams. There's just one thing to figure out. Everything. That's why Shopify's all-in-one commerce platform makes it easy to sell online, in person, and everywhere else. Sell on social media, source products with an app to get that first sale feeling. It's the only solution that gives you everything you need to
cost for Fubo TV. Get all the
Mengar. The Great Conquest. Today, live only on beIN Sports Extra. Speed equals to the distance traveled, divided into the time elapsed. A basic mathematical formula, the result of mankind's obsession of calculating everything. However, speed and racing were never about combustion. It wasn't about the method, but the madness. It's the fastest electric-powered vehicles on the planet. In a thrilling racing series, facing off some of the greatest pilots on Earth.